Who wins Game 6?
You know, Skip, a part of me now that I know Scott Foster is reffing the game, I want to say, you know what, the trend will be broken tonight.
And that is 0-12.
Yeah, the 0-12 Chris Paul with Scott Foster officiated games in which he's played in.
Playoff games.
Playoff games. They've lost all of them. The one game that he reffed, a Chris Paul game, CP3 didn't actually play. That was, I think, game 2. And so they ended up winning that game.
Yep.
But my head just says no. It's just hard for me to see a scenario for them to stem the tide. And I know all the games have been close, but Skip, every close game, the Bucks have operated them in clutch situations. They've made every play. They forced the Suns to turn the basketball over. You look at this. The Bucks have grabbed a plus 32 on the offensive glass. They're plus 31 in field goal attempts. They're plus 25 in free throw attempts. They're minus 14 in turnovers. They've turned the ball over 14 times less than what Phoenix. Anybody that's not named DeAndre Ayton, when they guard Giannis Antetokounmpo, he's shooting 79%. He's attempted 2 threes against everybody else. He's attempted 10 against DeAndre Ayton. Somehow, Skip, you're going to have to find a way. You can't get switched up on him. You got to have, if you're going to play him straight up, and that seems to, they're hell bent on saying, we believe our 7-foot guy can guard your 6'11 guy. I don't think that's wise, but hey, it is what it is. But he's only shooting 44% against DeAndre Ayton, 79% against everybody else. Skip, it's just hard for them to overcome. And we've seen Middleton break out of that shooting slump when he went back home. Now, do I believe Holiday will have another 12 or 20 game? No, but I do believe he's going to hound Chris Paul from end to end. And that's what we've never seen a guy do what Holiday has done. Skip, that's make one guy work on one end while making him also work on the other end. Because we don't normally see guys do that. So he's like, oh, Chris Paul, I'm going to hound you for 94 feet. But guess what? They're going to come see me down. They're going to see, and I'm going to back you down on the block and zap some of that out of you and come fourth quarter. We're going to see what you still have left in the tank. But Skip, I'm going to take the Bucks tonight because what I've seen from them is that, as you said, at some point in time, it just comes to me is that they just wanted more. They're making all the hustle plays. Every 50-50 ball late in the ball game, somehow Bobby Portis or Connington or Giannis, they come up with that ball. Every rebound, offensive board, they crash, they get. And they don't make these silly turnovers late in the ball game that we've seen Chris Paul have one, and we've seen Booker get the ball, take it out of his hands. So with that being said, I'm going to take the Bucks in a very close ball game. But I'm going to tell you this, Skip, I don't believe they cover. I believe it's going to be close like the last 2 ball games were, but I still believe the Bucks pull it out.
The spread last time I looked, just before the show started, was I saw 5. Okay. But with Scott Foster, I think seriously it should rise to 7. Okay. So here's my big picture on this series. I have been wrong so many times about this series that maybe the least predictable is the most predictable at this point. So maybe the way I should be picking it now is for Phoenix to win tonight and Milwaukee to win Game 7 back in Phoenix.
Go the opposite.
Wouldn't that be like the classic way to finish this series? I have said from the start, I believe Phoenix is a little bit better than Milwaukee, but Phoenix does not play as hard or perform as well as Milwaukee does.
Right.
Phoenix doesn't make as many plays or shots. And you know and I know that Game 4 and Game 5 came down to one play at the end of the game that Chris Paul couldn't make in Game 4 with 32 seconds left when he just flat out lost the basketball, palmed it, and then lost the handle right-handed on it and just gave it away, and Holiday scooped it up and went the other way for a fast break, easy layup for Middleton, and that was ball game.
Correct.
So there it goes. There goes Holiday, give it to Middleton over Book, and that's ball game. And then, obviously, the other night, here we go again, but the other night, it just comes down to one play, and Monty Williams says, Book's got the ball in his hands. I ain't calling no timeout. Just go make a shot. And he had a shot, I thought, at about 15 feet or 10 feet, and he got deeper and deeper, and he got stuck, and he drowned, basically. That he wheeled out, and Holiday took the ball right out of his hands and goes the other way for the high-flying Giannis alley-oop, and that's basically ball game, even though they needed another lucky bounce from Giannis bricking it so bad. But the point is, each of those games came down to a play and a play. I just feel like Phoenix, deep down, is defeated. Like, we had our chances, and we We just couldn't do it. And then the most disturbing trend of all, to me, in Game 5 on Saturday night in Phoenix, Game 5, this is it. And again, as electric a crowd as you'll ever be a part of. And they go up 37-21 after a quarter, and I just thought, bring on Game 6.
Right.
Let's see what we got here.
Yes.
And it felt like a 7-game series to me.
It did.
And from that point forward until the 9:08 mark of the fourth quarter, I still can't get it through my head how the Phoenix Suns at home in front of that crowd gave up an 87-57 run. That's a 30-point swing. You got blown off your floor for that whole run. And then they bounced back and came back. In the fourth quarter, they go on a 25-12 run down the stretch and put themselves in position for Holiday to miss, Book to get the rebound, Book to dribble the ball up the floor, and now it's game on the line. Here we go, and they couldn't pull it off.
It shouldn't have taken you getting down by 14 for you to play defense for a 5-minute stretch in the fourth quarter.
I agree.
As you gave up. Skip, you gave up 43 in the second, and then you followed it up by giving up another 36 in the third. You give up 79 in 2 quarters and you expect to win?
Okay. Now back to Scott Foster. We talked about this whenever it was. It was after Game 3 when he shows up. And remember, Chris brought it up after Game 3 of the Lakers series, in which he fell to 0-11 with Scott Foster reffing his playoff games. And he volunteered after the game. He just said, man, 0-11. And he said, if I was a betting man, ... and didn't finish the sentence, 0-11. 0-11. And then as they tried to end the interview, he said, 0-11. He wanted everybody to know that he can't fight City Hall. You know, he feels like that the NBA said, let there be Scott Foster. And remember, he got so upset with Scott Foster because he thought it got personal that he actually went to the league off. I mean, he didn't. He called.
Requested a meeting.
Yeah, he requested. I don't know if it went all the way to the commissioner, but this was when he was in Oklahoma City 2 years ago.
It would have to go to.
It would have to go to the commissioner that he complained, and it became public that he complained about Scott Foster, which means Scott Foster knows all too well that Chris actually publicly condemned him. Okay, so is it bad blood? Sure it is. But I thought, okay, so are they going to assign him to Chris Paul? And they did. They assigned him to Game 3 of this series. And what happened to DeAndre Ayton? Quick foul trouble. Remember the early foul was Giannis just running over Jay Crowder.
Right.
He just ran over him.
Right.
It's as blatant an offensive charge as you will ever see. Just an offensive foul.
Right.
And Scott Foster blows his whistle and lays it on Jay Crowder.
Correct.
What? Here it is. Just ran him over. How is this not an offensive foul? How is that a foul on Crowder? Was he not stationary? Was he trying to foul? No, he just got knocked out. That's a Scott Foster call. What do you think Chris Paul said in the back of his mind?
Here we go.
I can't even repeat what he probably said, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, and here they went. And Ayton got into quick foul trouble and played 5 total minutes of the second half and scored a grand total of 2 points. Okay, Scott Foster. But I told you the other day, the NBA is under such fire about Scott Foster, and he's regarded as a good referee in general.
Yeah,
I think he's terrible. But
you can't take him out, Skip, because then you would be actually agreeing with what people are thinking.
You would. If you eliminated him.
Yeah, you can't.
From the from the rotation of referees in the finals, then you're agreeing. So you have to validate him. You have to reinforce him.
Yep.
You have to say, no, we believe in Scott Foster, and we assign him to Game 6.
Yeah, but you knew he was coming back. Skip, I said it's going to be hard. It's hard for me to see a scenario that if this is a long series, Scott Foster doesn't get another game. He got one game. The pool is already set.
Yep.
So they're going to rotate the guys, and they're probably, everybody that's in the pool is probably going to get at least 2 games.
Okay.
If it goes 7 games.
And maybe this had already been assigned in advance.
Yes.
And yet they couldn't anticipate that Milwaukee was going to figure out how to steal a game 5 at Phoenix. I still can't believe it, but they did.
Just like David Stern, Skip, he couldn't pull Joey Crawford from Spurs game because everybody said, oh, so you do realize that there's a little bias going on here. So you actually took him away from the Spurs. He did suspend him. But he was able to call Spurs games again.
Yep.
Skip, look, if you look at the Suns are shooting a higher percentage from the floor, a higher percentage from the 3, a higher percentage from the free throw line. But I gave you all the reasons why they're down 3-2. because they're minus 32 on the offensive glass. You shot the other team has shot 25 more free throws.
Yep.
You've turned the ball over 14 more times. That's why even though you're out shooting them across the board, you find yourself down 3-2.
Yeah. So with the Scott Foster syndrome in full operation mode tonight, is it possible that Scott Foster is feeling some personal pressure to be more fair than usual with Chris Paul? Will he try to go the other way? Will he try to give Chris a more favorable whistle tonight? I doubt it, but it could play in reverse.
What if Chris doesn't read it? You know, how they go in there and look and see who the officials are. What if they say, Chris, don't even worry about it. And he don't know it's Scott Foster. He goes out there and warms up.
Well, maybe.
He knows. He knows. That's I'm sure the first thing he does in the morning, he probably gets up and he probably looks, okay, who calling that?
They post them at 9 Eastern time.
So who's officiating our games today?
Trust me, that's what they do, because that has huge impact on the game.
Oh, they're going to let us, he lets us play. Man, they be calling it ticky-tack.
That is correct. Okay, so now that brings us back to Chris Paul. Right now, through the first 5 games of this series, Devin Booker and plus-minus is a plus 27. And all the time he's been on the floor, they have been ahead by 27 points.
Yes.
Chris Paul, and all the time he has been on the floor through 5 games, the team is a minus 3. Mm-hmm. So they have lost by 3 points with Chris on the floor. He is the only Phoenix starter who is a minus in plus-minus. What does that tell you? That Chris Paul has ridden the wildest roller coaster I think I've ever seen, because I don't know from night to night what to expect from him. I don't know from quarter to quarter what to expect from him.
Well, Skip, when you get his age, Skip, I mean, hell, you don't know.
Okay.
I mean, and Skip, he's having to exert a lot.
Okay.
He just because think about it, when he played the other game, he's guarding Pat Bev. Pat Bev ain't gonna put no pressure on nobody.
Well, he does. I think he does.
Offensively,
I see what you
he's
mean.
going to make you work defensively.
Right, he will.
But you see what Holiday's doing?
I got it. You're right. Which is why you made the point the other night. Don't put it. Switch him off onto Tuck.
Tuck, let him stand in the corner. Yes.
Okay, go stand in the corner and rest for a while.
Yes, with Tuck.
Okay, I got it. But some nights, Chris looks every bit of 36 years old and every bit of 16 years in this league.
Yes,
and there's some nights it looks like he has to really effort up. You know, he has to work hard just to get up, to shoot his three, to get it to the basket. Right. And then in the fourth quarter the other night, he caught fire.
Yeah.
I don't get it. And we go back a series against the Clippers, and you're campaigning, so to speak, for campaign to play a few more minutes.
Right.
And you know what? I agreed with you because he gives them a spark.
Right.
He gives them some electricity because he is so lightning quick. And yet in this series, Cameron Payne has been nowhere to be found because their whole bench has been nowhere.
They've been awful.
Okay.
And Coddington and Portis are really the only 2 guys that come. Teague has played a little bit off the bench, but it's mainly been Coddington and Portis. And he's outplayed everybody that's come from Torrey Craig. That's a minus 20-something. Cameron Johnson minus 30-something. Cameron Payne minus 20-something. They've been ramshackled by the little 2-man bench of the Bucks.
So can we get a Game 6 Clippers Staples game from Chris Paul tonight? A 41-pointer?
Oh, you got to see closeout, Chris?
Well, that guy he scored 27 in basically the last quarter. It was a couple of minutes of the third and the whole fourth. He scored 27 points against the Clippers. Shot them right out of their own gym. It's LeBron's gym, but they were renting it that night, right? So the point is, is he capable of doing that to Milwaukee? I guess so. But with Scott Foster there, again, I would up the line to -7 right now.
You saw what he did against the Nuggets in the closeout game? 37.
37, yeah.
And then you saw that. And then the opening night against the Bucks. He grew off 32, Skip. Effortless. It's like, damn. What's gotten into everybody's like, what's gotten into Chris Paul?
I don't know. Well, it better get into him tonight because I'm with you. It doesn't feel good right now for the Suns to me. I think it's going to end tonight.
Wow. Oh, I just never want the ref to be the story that we're talking about. I just hate that about this one. I hate it.
Thank you for watching. You can subscribe here to get the latest from the show, and be sure to check out more of the best clips from Undisputed, or go watch a few other segments from our other shows on FS1.